Hey, what's up guys? So today we're going to be taking a look at a bunch of newer Yu-Gi-Oh cards coming out into the game. Do you guys remember Axe of Despair? Well, it's coming back in a staff form. And on top of that, we've got a lot of really troll Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So if you like weird game conditions, there's definitely going to be a lot coming out in this video. And on top of that, machines are getting some extra support, and something I never believed would have gotten some support is the Paladins on the Dragons. No one really knows what I'm talking about unless you're an OG Yu-Gi-Oh player. And on top of that, we got some more interesting Yu-Gi-Oh cards that just open up the doors to a lot of newer mechanics in the game. If you like new Yu-Gi-Oh cards, drop a like on this video because there is going to be a ton. But anyways, let's go ahead and hop right into it. So the first card that we're going to be taking a look at is called Bluff Reach. This is a new field spell card that says when you conduct your normal draw during your draw phase, you can reveal one of those drawn cards, place it on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, draw one card. The second part of the effect is when you draw a card or cards by card effect, you can reveal one of those drawn cards, send this card to the graveyard. If you do, place the revealed card on the bottom of the deck, and if you do that, draw one card. I think this is going to be more so one of those cards where it's just like Convulsions of Nature, really weird gameplay mechanics. Maybe some player will figure out some way to troll the opponent by using, again, Convulsions of Nature, calling the cards. There's a lot of weird interactions like Mind Crush with, of course, Convulsions of Nature that just like really give you a huge advantage in the game. But that is Bluff Reach. But we got another really weird Yu-Gi-Oh card. This is Stationary 1 o'clock Linear Accelerator. And it's a normal trap card that says you can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. The first part of it says during the battle phase, declare a number from 1 to 6. Choose one effect monster your opponent controls, and if the chosen monster's level is X, the declared number plus the number of cards your opponent controls equals the number of cards in your graveyard. Send cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard up to the number you declared. If you do, shuffle cards your opponent controls into the deck up to the number of cards sent to the graveyard by this effect. If not, you lose life points equal to the declared number times 500. So this could open up the door to a lot of really crazy and hype Yu-Gi-Oh plays. And if you guys want to see gameplay of maybe making my opponent super salty, I'll try to get you guys gameplay of the super troll card, because imagine just shuffling all their cards back, and I'm sure they would be upset. But it is an RNG kind of mechanic, because there's a lot of things that you have to control with this. So if you're new here, make sure you guys subscribe with that bell on if you want to see some salty players for sure, which we'll get gameplay of that. But it's not over yet. We still got a lot more new Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Next up, though, we have the Dai Kaminiri Gleclops. It is a level 4 Wind Thunder Pendulum Tuner effect monster with 1400 attack and 1700 defense points. And its pendulum effect is once per turn, you get to target one pendulum monster you control and one other monster your opponent controls. You get to change their battle position. The monster effect is if this card is supposed to summon from the extra deck is used for a synchro summon, banish it. You can only use this card's name second and third monster's effects once per turn each. So the first effect is if this card is normal summon, you can change this card's battle position. The second effect is if this card's battle position changes, you can target one face-up spell and trap on the field and destroy it. The third effect is if this card in the pendulum zone is destroyed, you can return one card in your pendulum zone to the hand. Okay, interesting little effect over there. I do like how he's a tuner too. Next up though, this is a very weird card. This is Noku Jaki. It is a level 3 light Fiend Tuner effect monster with 1000 attack and 1000 defense points. It says you cannot activate the effects of your other special summon monsters with the same attribute as this card. Once per turn during this card's owner's main phase, as a quick effect, you can give control of this card to your opponent. Then you can change this card's attribute to any attribute until the end of the next turn. So one thing that could be interesting with this card is you can give your opponent a card. Some cards will require your opponent to have like one card, and you can do something with it. And this also would turn off other cards that would require you to have no monsters on the field. So your opponent's hand traps might become essentially a little bit less useful because they happen to have a monster. There might be other things that you can do with this. I think this is another one of those really unique cards where someone might figure out some troll way to go ahead and FTK your opponent with it. But again, they can give it back to you. It's going to be a fun thing to go ahead and see what people come up with some ideas. Definitely let me know in the comment section down below if there's any really crazy FTKs that you can pull off. Again, if your opponent controls like a monster, you can do a lot more in Yu-Gi-Oh with that. Next up, we have Fluorescence over here, which is a level 4 light dragon effect monster with 1600 attack, 800 defense points. And it says when this card is normal summon, while your opponent controls a monster, you can discard 1 card to send any number of fluorescence from your deck to the graveyard. And then the second effect is once per turn, if this card is in the graveyard, you can make this card in the graveyard become dark until the end of this turn. Oh, so it's more, I guess, is this Chaos Dragon support? That's pretty cool. I think a lot of people really loved Chaos Dragons. All right, next up, I hope this card is actually good because it has a pretty interesting mechanic. So this is Archery Staff of Despair, which is an equip spell card that says equip only to a monster you control. You can only use this card's name first and second effects once per turn each. The first effect is during your main phase, you can make all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls lose attack equal to half the equipped monsters until the end of this turn. The second effect is, if this card is sent to the graveyard while equipped to a monster, you can pay 1,000 life points to add this card to your hand. So this effect alone is probably what's going to make it good. I mean, Axe of Despair has been a really cool card way back in the day. You equip to a monster, it's getting over most of the stuff in the game. With nowadays, equip cards usually are phased out, but being able to add it back once per turn can be something to take into consideration just for an equip card for some other decks. But unfortunately, it has to be sent to the graveyard while equipped to a monster, which is a really big deal, because otherwise we could just go ahead and send it right to the graveyard with a soul combo decks and then just go ahead and have an extra card just to have, like we do with Divine Sword Phoenix Blade. So I think that the card loses out a little bit of value in like its soul decks, but it's still an interesting card. I mean, being able to go ahead and make everything lose a bunch of stats can be quite great, and it's not original attack, so you can boost up the monster with other cards and maybe reduce it by a significant amount, and then maybe you can pull off a Asura Priest Honest OTKs. I mean, that's something that it would be just fun for content more than anything. You Ben K OTK even harder, right? Because remember, it's just the equipped monster's attack. Well, it's half of it, not original attack, which is important. Next up, though, this is some more support for machines. Technically, I want to say it's more so for Machina because they're getting other support later down the line as well. But anyways, Electromagnetic Railgun is a normal trap card that says tribute 1 machine monster, then target up to 1 card on the field for every 1,000 original attack the attributed monster had, and you get to destroy them. So on average, if we look at like Colonel over here, with the Machina archetype, again, that's like the more relevant Machina that most people will go for. Again, our Citadel Ass's name is now changed in the TCG, so that's like popping 3 cards, or even if you go for Fortress, that's at least 2 cards. Again, it is the original attack, but I still think that's a great card, being able to get rid of multiple cards. But if you also think about it, the Citadel already has the effect to pop all the stuff anyways, but this is just cards. It could be a little bit better, but nonetheless, it's still more support for machines in general. Next up, Ancient Warriors also getting more support. It seems like everything's just getting support in this. There's just cards all over the place in this set from BLVO. But anyways, Ancient Warrior Saga, A Man's Honor, which is a continuous trap card. It says you can only use this card's name first and third effects once per turn each. The first effect is if your opponent special summons a monster or monsters, you can special summon 1 Ancient Warrior Dragoon token. Beast Warrior Wind level 1, 500. If an Ancient Warrior monsters would be destroyed by battle, you can send this card to the graveyard instead. Third effect is when a card or effect is activated that targets an Ancient Warrior monster or monsters on the field, you can banish this card from a graveyard and negate the activation. So protects the cards pretty well over here. I wish you just got rid of one of the tokens instead, though, because this over here is quite nice. But remember, the first and third effects are once per turn each. Otherwise, you can just get a bunch of stuff and it'd be maybe a little bit too OP. Interesting card nonetheless. And on top of that, we're getting another card called Virtual World Gate Zhuang Wu, which is a continuous trap card that says you can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. You can only use this card's name first and second effects once per turn each. The first effect is during the battle phase, if you control another Virtual World Gate card, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field and change its battle position. The second effect is during your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard and target a Virtual World monster in your graveyard and special summon it, but its effects are negated. Then send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard. Next up, we have dual avatar turning, as this archetype definitely needs more support. Normal trap card that says you can only use this card's name first and second effects once per turn each. The first effect is target one dual avatar monster you control, destroy it. If you do, special summon from your deck or extract one dual avatar monster that is one original level, higher or lower than that monster's. The second effect is during your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one dual avatar monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Next up, Dream Mirrors are also getting some more new support over here. This is called the Dream Mirror Dream Telling, which is a continuous trap card that says shuffle any Dream Mirror monsters you control that tributes itself to activate its own effect into the deck instead of sending it to the graveyard. The second effect is during the main phase, you can send this face-up card to the graveyard, place face-up in your field zone one Dream Mirror of Joy or one Dream Mirror of Terror that is banished or in your graveyard. Then you could special summon one monster from your hand that specifically lists the card that you place in its text. Okay, that's a pretty good support. Anything that really helps out their engine in having consistency for the Joy or Terror instantly is going to be good for that archetype. Next up, again, this is the thing I was actually really excited about. I actually didn't read this card's effects, so let's go and check it out. This is Paladin of the Armored Dragon. It's a level 4 Wind Dragon Ritual Effect monster, 1900 attack, 1200 defense points. It says you can ritual summon this card's with Armored Dragon Ritual. You can only use this card's first and second effects once per turn each. The first effect is at the start of the damage step, if this battles a monster special summon from the extract, you can shuffle that monster into the deck. Decent effect. The second effect is you contribute this card to special with level 5 or higher Wind Dragon monster from your hand or deck. That's another really fantastic effect. Next up though, we have the Armored Dragon Ritual. So it's a ritual spell card that says this card is used to ritual summon Paladin of Armored Dragon. You can only use this card's same second effect once per turn. The first effect is ritual summon one Paladin of Armored Dragon from your hand by triggering monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal 4 or more. The second effect is during your main phase, except for the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish monsters from your hand or face up field whose total levels equals 4 or more. Banish this card from your graveyard if you use special summon one Paladin of Armored Dragon from your graveyard. Okay, that's a nice little effect over there, so you can go ahead and get the card out. And we're really hoping we get more of these guys, as again, this was an archetype that was it was a really cool idea for artwork, but like their effects were so bad. Like, well, it's because they're just like old Yu-Gi-Oh cards, right? Anyways, next up, more Machina support. So Machina Unclass Spare is a level 4 Dark Machine effect monster, 1800 attack, 800 defense points, and it says you can only use this card's name first and second effects once per turn each. The first effect is if this card is added to your hand except by drawing it, you can special summon this card. Also, you can special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except machine monsters. Second part of it says if this card is normal or special summon, you get to send one Machina monster from your deck to the graveyard except for Unclass Spare. Okay, so that just goes Colonel dies, special summon Colonel once again. I think this is all just for, or when if I say Colonel Citadel, sorry, that's its original OG name, because the face-up Earth Machine would be destroyed. Now, unfortunately, he is dark. Okay, but it's fine, because more than likely you're going to add it, special, bam, foolish. So it does help out the deck quite a bit, although you can only go for machines, but you can still just use it as material for whatever else you want to go for. So a nice card for them nonetheless. Next up, we have a Ice Barrier promo card that, this is just quick news. It doesn't show the effect. It's still secret. They've hyped this card up 2 different times as we've covered it. But now it's going to support not only water decks, but warrior type monsters as well. So who knows where this is going to go? This is the ultimate Ice Barrier, maybe. I don't know. All I know is the Ice Barrier support is really mediocre. So maybe this is the card that's going to be the Ice Barrier, Spellbook of Judgment, Ice Barrier in monster form. I don't know. But they're hyping this card up, so we'll have to wait and see. But anyways, guys, those are the new Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Let me know your thoughts on them down below in the comment section below. Are there any of these OP? If you guys got really cool ideas, feel free to send in to azneyesreplays@gmail.com like a replay file, or just DM me in the Discord to be featured on the channel. I hope someone figures out something cool with the Staff of Despair. I think a Sora Priest Honest OTK will be fun. And if you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you're new here and you want to see gameplay of, again, the stuff that I mentioned before, I definitely want to make some people salty with that trap card as well. And you're new here, subscribe, turn on the bell, and you see it very soon. But anyways, take care, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video. And I'm out. Peace.